In 1963, while Europe's sports cars dominated headlines worldwide, an Italian immigrant in Brazil was quietly plotting a revolution. Armed with nothing but a farm workshop in Matão and an audacious vision, Rino Malzoni dared to challenge Ferrari, Porsche, and Lamborghini. His weapon? A sleek sports car built from fiberglass and determination, the Puma GTE. For 3 decades, this forgotten challenger not only survived but thrived, producing over 22,000 vehicles and exporting to 50 countries. Yet most people have never heard its name. This is the story of Brazil's phantom sports car and the man who refused to accept limitations. The story of Brazil's most ambitious automotive venture begins in the early 1960s with an Italian immigrant named Rino Malzoni. In his uncle's workshop in São Paulo, Malzoni started by customizing simple vehicles like Ford Model A's and Austin A90 Atlantics. His skills rapidly progressed to more prestigious projects, including work on a BMW 328 and a bold modification of a 1952 Maserati Coupe with a Ferrari 250 Testarossa drivetrain. On August 25, 1963, Malzoni joined forces with 3 other automotive enthusiasts to establish Sociedade de Automóveis Lumimari. His partners were Luis Roberto Alves da Costa, Milton Mastigan, and Mario Cesar de Camargo Filho. The company name Lumimari cleverly combined the first 2 letters of each founder's first name. L-U from Luis, M-I from Milton, M-A from Mario, and R-I from Rino. Working from his farm in Matão in the interior of São Paulo, Malzoni developed a prototype racing car with support from Veículos e Máquinas Agrícolas S.A., VMAG, Brazil's DKW representative. The prototype featured a front-mounted 981 cubic-inch 3-cylinder DKW engine and weighed just 1,587 pounds. This first creation proved its worth at the Autódromo de Interlagos, securing 5 victories in 1964 and dominating major races the following year. The success led to the launch of their first production model, the GT Malzoni, named in honor of its creator. By November 1964, the company rebranded as Puma Veículos e Motores at the suggestion of Jorge Letri, head of VMAG's competition department. In 1966, Puma unveiled the Puma GT at the Motor Show. Known colloquially as the Puma DKW, it was essentially an improved GT Malzoni with refined bodywork and enhanced features. Production reached approximately 125 units before a major disruption occurred: Volkswagen's acquisition of VMAG in 1967. Rather than surrender to this setback, Malzoni spent 9 months at his farm developing a new vehicle based on the Volkswagen Karmann Ghia chassis. The redesigned car featured a rear-mounted 1.5-liter Volkswagen air-cooled engine and transaxle, marking a crucial transition for the company. In 1969, Puma created a limited edition series called the GT4R. Only 3 units were produced for a special promotion in Quatro Rodas magazine, finished in copper, blue, and green. The 4th unit was built exclusively for Malzoni himself. The company's watershed moment came in 1970 with the launch of the Puma GTE, E for export. This model became their most successful creation, featuring design elements inspired by various European sports cars, particularly the Lamborghini Miura's upper door sections and tapered rear end. Standing less than 47 inches tall, the GTE's clean lines and proportions earned it recognition as Brazil's most beautiful car from Quatro Rodas magazine, with legendary Italian designer Nuccio Bertone serving on the judging panel. In 1971, Puma diversified its operations by beginning to manufacture truck cabs for Chevrolet. This expansion led to the development of their own truck line, starting with the Puma 4T in 1978, followed by the 6T and 2T models. The same year saw the introduction of the Puma Spyder, a convertible variant of the GTE that captured the essence of open-top European sports cars. The company continued to innovate with the 1974 launch of the GTB, Gran Turismo Brasil. built on the Chevrolet Opala chassis. Despite being one of Brazil's most expensive vehicles, the GTB achieved considerable success between 1974 and 1987. In 1978, they introduced the GTB S2, which switched to the Volkswagen Brasilia chassis and featured updated styling for the 1980s. Puma's influence extended beyond Brazil's borders, with vehicles exported to more than 50 countries. The company established licensed production in South Africa, with operations in Durban producing 357 units between 1973 and 1974. A later facility in Verwoerdburg assembled an additional 26 cars from 1989 to 1991. The 1980s brought significant challenges and innovations. Two new models emerged in 1980, the Puma GTI and GTC, both representing a restyling of the Spider, with the GTC serving as the convertible version. These vehicles utilize the Brasilia chassis and mark the beginning of Puma's new era. The company faced financial and structural difficulties in the early 1980s, exacerbated by factory fires. In response, they developed the P016 project, which would have featured its own chassis, modern suspension, and a water-cooled engine. However, high costs forced its cancellation. Simultaneously, they worked on the P018 project, which continued to use Volkswagen chassis and mechanics but incorporated a new body design. Following Rino Malzoni's death in 1979 at age 62, the company entered a period of transition. In November 1985, Puma ceded its rights to Araucaria Veículos, a company from Paraná. In 1988, Alfa Metis Veículos acquired Araucaria Veículos and continued production with modified designs and Chevrolet Opala engines. The death of major partner Nívio de Paula in a 1990 accident created additional challenges for the company. Sports car production continued until 1993, while Alfa Metis Veículos maintained truck and bus manufacturing operations. The truck division saw several developments in the 1990s. In 1991, they launched the 914 truck, based on the 4Q model but with significant improvements. The 1994 introduction of the 9000 Turbo Power truck represented their most powerful and sophisticated commercial vehicle. Their final project, the 7900 CB, debuted in 1996 but was shortly discontinued. Alfa Metis Veículos ceased all Puma production in 1999, returning the brand rights to Puma Indústria de Veículos S.A. Production numbers tell an impressive story. Between 1964 and 1967, 174 GT Malzoni and GT DKW units were manufactured. The following years saw steady growth: 151 units in 1968, 272 in 1969, and 202 in 1970. Production peaked in the late 1970s with 2,898 units in 1977, 3,390 in 1978, and 3,595 in 1979. The decline began in the 1980s, with numbers dropping from 3,042 units in 1980 to just 10 units in 1985. The complete model lineup included numerous variants: the GT Malzoni, 49 units plus Malzoni's personal car; DKW Puma GT, 125 units; GT 1500, 423 units; GTE, 8,800 units; Spider, 223 units; GTS, 7,077 units; GTI, 610 units; GTC, 1,740 units; GTB S1, 701 units; and GTB S2, 888 units. Total production reached 22,116 vehicles, with 21,891 built in Brazil and 383 in South Africa. In 2013, the brand experienced a revival as Puma Automóveis Ltda, headquartered in Botucatu, São Paulo. Under the leadership of Fernando Mesquita and Reginaldo Galafazzi, who formed the Mescaferri Automobile Society, The company developed new projects including the P052 prototype for motorsports and the GT Lumimari, named in honor of the company's original name. The new P052 prototype drew inspiration from the classic GT model Lotus Elise and Porsche Boxers. Featuring a fiberglass body and central rear engine with tubular structure, the initial plan called for a production run of 30 cars to create a dedicated racing category. This initiative was sponsored by Jan Balder, Puma's director of competitions and former racing partner of Emerson Fittipaldi. The prototype debuted at the end of 2016 during the final stage of the São Paulo Automotive Championship at the Autodromo de Interlagos. While the track category hasn't materialized, Puma developed a street-legal version called the GT Lumimari. Today, the Puma legacy continues through enthusiasts like Pascal Klein, known as Mr. Wild. His modified 1976 GTE maintains the car's elegant lines while incorporating modern elements like air suspension and 15-inch work-equipped 03 wheels, achieving a remarkably low 39-inch height when fully lowered. The rear wheels measure an impressive 15 x 10 inches, with deep dishes that perfectly complement the car's classic lines. The Puma story represents more than just automotive history. It demonstrates how innovation and determination can overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. From its humble beginnings in Malzoni's workshop to its position as Brazil's premier sports car manufacturer, Puma proved that compelling automotive design could emerge from unexpected places, challenging the traditional dominance of established automotive powers. The brand's influence continues to resonate in Brazil's automotive culture, where surviving examples are cherished as representations of a time when Brazilian engineering and design competed on the world stage. While it may not have achieved the lasting fame of its European contemporaries, the Puma GTE remains a testament to the power of automotive passion and ingenuity, reminding us that significant contributions to automotive history can come from anywhere, as long as dedicated individuals are willing to pursue their dreams against all odds.